Hej och välkommen. Hi and welcome to this little introduction to Swedish culture. This video contains a bit of Swedish vocabulary, Swedish traditions, information about Swedish culture, norms, values, what Sweden is known for internationally, generally speaking. And while this is based on my own experiences as a person that has grown up in Sweden, it maybe doesn't represent every Swedish person or all Swedish culture. And it's also not going to be heavy on the grammar so much, this lesson. So that can be good to know. Also, the language of the video is going to be a little bit of Swenglish, I would say. Exciting, right? You with me? You sure? Okay, then let's start, shall we? So we can start by just looking at this text on the above my head here. What does it say? It says svensk kultur. Para ihop ord med bild. So that's svensk kultur. Para ihop ord med bild. These are the instructions about what we're going to do right now. So Swedish culture, this means, kind of looks like it means that, right? Svensk kultur. Svensk means Swedish. For example, jag är svensk. I am Swedish. Jag är svensk. Svensk kultur. Swedish culture. Also here how I roll my R's. Svensk kultur. A little bit strange how we have many consonants after each other also often in Swedish. Svensk kultur, culture. Para ihop. So para is related to pair in English. Ihop is this thing. Ihop. Ord. Word. Med bild. Bild means picture. So you can think about what do we think this means. I'm gonna spoil and tell you what this means. It means Swedish culture pair together word with picture. So this is now what we are going to do together, you and I, as a team. Zooming out here again a little bit. We have a bunch of pictures and we have a couple of words, aka phrases or names or concepts. So let's first have a look at the pictures a little bit. Starting from the top here, we can see some kind of strange looking tree, but obviously man-made somehow, together with the Swedish flag. We then have some red houses on some kind of maybe farm looking place. Below here we have something that looks like it's supposed to be coffee. There's supposed to be some kind of, buns, things, sweets that you can eat, right? We then have a small beige looking kitchen, possibly fake. A mysterious band on a stage with semi-silly looking outfits, possibly from the 70s. Who can it be? Then we have a whole bunch of people and meatballs right there. Diverse people on some kind of scale. This man right here looks very free and very tattooed. We have a picture right here of a bunch of women. It's got a little bit poor resolution, this picture. Bunch of women, what looks like a bunch of women wearing some kind of costume or clothing. Swedish colors also, yellow and blue. We have an old, wise-looking person and some kind of party or dinner. We have a bowl here of something, a glass bowl. Looks decorative and cool. Not sure how delicious it is, what's inside there. Got some blueberries lying outside. Possibly red onion, possibly some kind of food in there. These last ones here belong together. All of these pictures. We have a villa or a house. We have a car, Volvo, that is. Dog, golden retriever, and what looks like some kind of suburban stuff going on. And also these red houses again. The red car looks like it's kind of flying there, so I guess that also adds to the mystery somehow. So now let's look at these words, shall we? So the first one on the top there reads högtider, midsommar, or midsommar, we can say fast also. What högtider literally means is hög is high and tider is times. So high times. And then the second word might be quite easy to guess if you've seen the horror film Midsummer. It means midsummer. Surprise. So in Swedish, högtid means holiday, not as a vacation holiday, but more as a traditional holiday that you celebrate. Now, spontaneously, we might want to say that it's this picture right here. Yeah? Feels like it could be. They're sitting outdoors. Most people know that Sweden is a cold country, and it doesn't look cold right now so much. So that makes us think maybe it's midsummer going on here. But this one is actually a little bit tricky. There's another symbol that is very much synonymous with midsummer and very much represents this holiday in Sweden. What's that? Yes, you guessed it. It's this one right here. This big, strange-looking tree on my right here is actually a phallus symbol. So it's a symbol of fertility. So every year, Midsummer is supposed to be on the longest day of the year, basically. And way back in the day, before Christianity even came to Sweden, Swedish people used to believe in Odin, Thor, Freya, and those other gods. And back then, they also used to believe that dancing around this big pole would somehow fertilize the soil and make the crops grow better and things like that. And with this other word here, jämlikhet, we can think a little bit. I can tell you a clue, which is that jäm, short for jämn, which means even. And lik means similar. Sort of like in English, if that makes sense. So if you keep that in mind and look at all these pictures, which one does it feel like it could be? I'm gonna spoil again. It's this one with all the people standing there. I'm gonna have this man as my frown right now also. Jämlikhet literally means equality in Swedish. And while equality is not a Swedish concept at all, it still is very popular in Scandinavian countries. Many Nordic countries, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, and Iceland, all take pride in having quite equal societies. There's a strong culture and sense of community. There's a strong sense of helping each other. There's a strong sense of sharing everything. Helping the poor or less people that have less opportunities than yourself. Wealth and status is not super important to many Swedish people. Many people in Sweden feel this way, that it shouldn't matter the color of your skin or where you come from or what gender you are. You should have equal right to a good life in Sweden. Generally, people that grow up poorer in Sweden, for example, they might not be as scared of becoming homeless or having to be criminal, live a criminal life, as in some other countries. There might also be some cons or backsides to these ideas. or this culture. As you can see, I posted another term here called jantelagen. Lag or lagen means the law, which is a little bit misrepresenting because it's not actually a law, it's more of a norm or a custom. Jantelagen is the name for the idea that you should be humble and that you shouldn't think that you're better than anyone else. Now, being humble is quite important in Swedish culture, I would say. Maybe not in the same way exactly as Japanese culture, for example, but it's a big deal in Sweden. And just as with many other aspects of life, this isn't a black and white thing. It's bringing a lot of awkward or bad things, but it can also bring a lot of good things as well. For example, many Swedish people are very funny, have a lot of self-distance. Also, they're also very caring and look out for other people. At least when you get to know them, which is another challenge because Swedish people tend to be a little bit reserved. But in my personal experience and many other people that I've talked to, once you do get to know a Swede, you usually have a loyal friend. Faluröda stugor. I can tell you this. Falu is short for Falun, which is a city in a county called Dalarna in Sweden. Röd is red. Röda is red in plural. And stugor. What can that be? En stuga in Swedish is a house or a cottage. So this leaves us two options now. It's either this one or that one up there, right? But this, remember, this one was connected to these other ones as well. So there's a bunch of other things that haven't been included in that name. So it's actually, you guessed it right, that one up there. These houses are an incredibly common sight in Sweden, especially in the countryside. The Falu rödfärg or the Falu red paint originally comes from the Falun mine in Dalarna. The pigment is a byproduct of copper mining, in fact, where what is known as rödmull, red earth, kind of, is formed from weathered low copper ore. This earth is later burned and then crushed into a paint powder, which is then mixed with some boiling water and some other ingredients. Linseed oil and rye flour, among other things, to create this characteristic paint. So moving on, these three highlighted points here, depending on your experience with the Swedish culture or your knowledge about Sweden, you might be able to guess what these ones are, but some of you might not recognize any of them at all. Starting with fika. This is a very Swedish concept, a very Swedish tradition, Swedish behavior, at least according to Swedish people. There is, of course, something similar to fika in many cultures, many countries, but there's a special word for it in Swedish. This is actually the concept of drinking coffee together with something sweet. So fika is actually a word for the act of buying coffee in a coffee house of some sort and eating something together with it, something sweet or something, can be a sandwich also, but usually something sweet like these things that are around here. This is probably something that has to do with the weather. Since it's so cold and dark in Sweden, people want to sit inside in a cozy corner, maybe read a book or maybe talk to a friend or something like that. Have some coffee, have something sweet to kind of get the energy back on track. On this picture, the specific kinds of fika that we see here are traditional, what looks like traditional cinnamon rolls, kanelbullar. Kanelbulle, kanelbullar. We also have chokladbollar, chocolate balls, literally. We have princess cake, prinsesstårta. We have kladdkaka, which literally means sticky cake. We have dammsugare, which literally means vacuum cleaner. Very strange. This is because they had vacuum cleaners that looked like this in the 70s. Up here we also have something called massarin and vanilla heart, vaniljhjärta. So something common to say if you want to spend time with someone from Sweden. You can say, for example, ska vi ta en fika? Så ska vi ta en fika? Ska vi ta en fika? Ska means shall or will. We take a fika. Will we take a fika? We can say it that it means, do you want to have a fika? Do you want to have a coffee? Should we take a coffee? Should we have a fika? Should we have a coffee and something sweet to go with it and sit somewhere cozy? Now, this is a person. Many people, many students of mine know who he is. It's this man who was my crown earlier during this video. The tattooed free man. All jokes aside, he's a very talented, very hardworking, very popular football player, soccer or football player. He grew up in Rosengård in Malmö, the south of Sweden, where they talk like this. Ja, hallå, jag heter Sofia. Jag kommer från Skåne. Jag kommer från Malmö. So that was not the best skånska in the world, the best accent there. But the important thing to know about skånska, this accent, is that they have a r sound instead of r sound in their R's. So I'm not huge on sports myself, but I can tell you this. What this man has done to Swedish sports and Swedish football and Swedish soccer is beyond words, I would say. This would also be according to himself, I would imagine. He's known for having a big ego. But maybe he deserves to have a big ego with that talent. I don't know. IKEA, or as we say in Swedish, IKEA. As you may be able to guess, IKEA stands for something. It stands for Ingvar Kamprad, which is the first and last name of the founder of IKEA. And also the two last ones, E and A, E and A, are the first letters in the two villages where he grew up, or one of them is a village where he grew up, and the other one is a name of a very close village that is very close to where he grew up also. Both of these villages or towns are located in Småland, which is also quite close to Skåne, where Zlatan grew up. Småland literally means small country or little country, and they talk like this. Hallå där, jag heter Sofia. Jag kommer här från Småland. Jag kan inte... To be quite frank with you, that also wasn't the best imitation I've ever done. And for those of you who don't know, IKEA is a major company that creates and sells furniture. Quite cheap, but also good quality, and quite easy to assemble yourself, while also not lacking completely in quality either. The only thing IKEA doesn't have going for them is, I guess, sense of luxury or a very beautiful, interesting style. It's quite straightforward and simple, but this is also what has made them so successful. It's a worldwide go-to store for furniture. If you go into an IKEA store in Sweden, at least, you will also be able to see these fake rooms where they put this furniture up in a way that you'll be able to see what it might look like in a home, for example. It was my favorite thing, one of my favorite things growing up, going to IKEA and going and pretending that I lived in all of these different rooms. I would cook fake food in the kitchen. I would lay a fake turd in the toilet. Oh, those were the days. Astrid Lindgren. Now, this is a name. Astrid is the first name and Lindgren, the last name. It's this old lady here in the middle. She's already been dead for many years, but she's very loved in Sweden. And a big, huge part, I would say, in Swedish culture and Swedish national identity. She is on our 20 crown bill. She has written many, many, many books, and most of them have been translated into very many languages. She has written books such as Pippi Långstrump, Pippi Långstocking, Ronja Rövardotter, Ronja the Robber's Daughter, Bröderna Lejonhjärta, Barna i Bullerbyn, Rasmus på luffen, Mio min Mio, Madicken, Kajsa Kavat, Karlsson på taket, Vi på Saltkråkan. These are all the Swedish names, by the way, probably you understood that. And while many people who have read her books or watched the movies or series that were made also during the 1900s, many of us have preferences which ones we like more or whatnot, but I can almost certainly say that objectively, none of these books or movies are bad or terrible. Almost all of them are good, in my opinion. Objectively, in my opinion. Emil i Lönneberga. I would say that my personal favorites from the Astrid Lindgren lore is Ronja Rövardotter, Bröderna Lejonhjärta, and Pippi Långstrump. It's hard to say what specifically makes her so famous and loved by everybody, but if I had to try to boil it down, I would say that it's a combination of her incredibly vivid imagination, her way to handle the Swedish language, and the way that she takes children seriously in her books. Her books bring up all kinds of themes, including war and peace, democracy, death, living as a criminal, living as a very rich person, a very poor person, and the frictions between classes in society, but also more seemingly simple or relatable kid things like being rejected by a friend, feeling jealous, envious, loving something or disliking something without knowing why or how to say it, and just generally trying to understand the world and people around you and why things are the way they are.